Hey guys, what's up? So if I look like crap, that's because it's 1:45 in the morning and I was just laying in bed and I uploaded a YouTube video. And I know you guys are expecting to see the video. So what it was, obviously by the title, is I gave a rank for the top 15 fights in Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I went through, I got each fight, and I was worried a little bit about copyright, so I got rid of all the sound. Usually that's how YouTube finds it, is by sound. So I got rid of any and all sound that would be there. And I got rid of the sound. It was great. I just had video and I talked the entire time. Don't I get an email from YouTube saying, hey, your video was copyright claimed, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And then I'm like, I worked really hard on it. I actually don't make any money on YouTube because I'm not at 1,000 subscribers and I don't have enough of the watch hours. And then I got another email. Hey, it's partially blocked. So it's blocked in some countries, not blocked in other countries. Okay. Third email. It's blocked. I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm just going to delete the video. So I deleted it. You guys are going to see a revised version where it's just me talking. No clips. No... Like, it didn't have any sound anyway, but this is just no clips. So I hope you guys enjoy. This is going to be put together and uploaded in like 10 minutes. So just know that I had different intentions for this video, but it is what it is. Enjoy. Hey guys, what's up, and welcome to this video. Now, a couple things. I know you can see the pop filter because of how wide the camera is right now. Usually in my videos, it's because of how I cut it. It's you just see me, you don't see anything else. So I know. I'm gonna try this out. That's why I have it in frame. We're gonna see how that works. Also, you're gonna see. I know you're not used to just seeing me, but you're gonna see me for parts, and then you're gonna see the clips for parts. Don't know if you're gonna have sound though, cause copyright. But let's get into the top 15 battles or fights, whatever you want to use, for Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, I saw a video that gave 5. I've seen videos that gave 10. I'm like, ooh, that was a good one. That was a good one. And before I knew it, I had a list of 15, of a top 15. So we're going to go through each one, and I'll just talk about them a little bit. So at number 15, we have the Battle of Lake Laogai. That's just what I called it. I don't know if everyone refers to it as that. But the Battle of Lake Laogai, they go under Lake Laogai to try to find Appa, who had been being kept by Long Fang. And he was keeping Appa from Aang, even though he knew Aang was looking for him. Zuko ended up setting him free, and after the fight, they go outside and Appa finds them. But this is also the battle where it's the last time we see Jet. Jet is still somewhat under mind control. He remembers everything, but by saying the secret phrase, Jet, the king has invited you to, or the Earth King has invited you to Lake Laogai, I believe is the exact line. And that causes Jet to go into the, mind control state. And he fights Aang. And then he breaks out of it just to end up getting hit by, one of Long Fang's earthbending moves. And we don't end up seeing Jet again. We don't really know what happens to him. We can assume, and that can be another video, at a later time, but we don't really know what happened to Jet. Next, I have at number 14, Zuko versus Jet. This was when Jet tried to recruit Zuko to his Freedom Fighters team, the new one. And he sees Uncle Iroh heating up his tea using firebending. He did it very subtly, but the tea was cold, and then all of a sudden, a few seconds later, it's hot. You can actually see the steam coming off. So he believes that they're firebenders, and he tries to do everything he can to prove that they're firebenders. He steals their spark rocks, that would start a fire. He does everything possible, and eventually just says screw it, and he confronts them about it. Him and Zuko have a battle. Zuko has swords. Jet has his, I don't even know what to call them. You know what they are, though. They're almost like a crowbar kind of deal, but he fights with those. And Jet ends up getting taken away by the Dai Li. Number 13 is Katara versus Master Pakku. So, Master Pakku refuses to teach Katara because only men learn how to fight with waterbending. Women learn the healing side of it. And Katara learns a few things along the way, that her grandmother was originally born and raised in the northern water tribe and moved to the southern water tribe later in life. Now, we learn it was because she didn't love Master Pakku, and it was an arranged marriage. So Pakku and Katara fight over the whole, not teaching her thing. And Aang even tried to teach her, and Pakku banned him from class after that. So that was an emotional fight where Katara, she really did well. She put up a great fight, and he finally finds the necklace, and they realize that Gran was supposed to marry him. And he ends up teaching her, obviously. And she becomes basically a waterbending master. And then she ends up teaching Aang. At number 12, I have Zuko, Sokka, and Suki versus Azula and Ty Lee. This is the fight that happens at the prison when they're trying to escape. They have the warden tied up and gagged, and it's Chief Akota, one of the other prisoners, I can't remember his name right now, it escapes me. But they end up escaping on the gondola, and there's a huge fight that happens on the roof of the gondola. And they were going to cut the line, so Azula and Ty Lee bail, and then May swoops in and saves them. To me, that was a great battle. It was an awesome fight to me. Maybe not to other people, but I like that one. Next is going to be number 11, Aang and Bumi. So this is when, it's right in the beginning of the series, and Aang goes to Ba Sing Se with Katara and Sokka. He has to disguise himself, and they end up wrecking all the cabbages. And, you got, my cabbages! That guy was awesome. But, he tells them, you're going to pay for this. And they end up going to King Bumi, who Aang doesn't realize it's Bumi. And, he ends up doing the tests and has a battle. And it's, point to anyone, point to your opponent. That's who you're going to battle. And Aang points to Bumi. And he's, wrong choice. And we learn Bumi, even at 112 years old, is jacked. And he's still one hell of an earthbender. So, that was an awesome fight. Next is the fight versus Azula at the Western Air Temple. This is after the Day of Black Sun fails. You know, they knew they were coming, so the plan fails. Only a few escape, the rest become prisoners of war, and they're able to escape to the Western Air Temple. And they, Aang and Zuko go to the Sun Warriors temple, or ancient civilization, and then this is actually after the prison break, and Azula goes to the Western Air Temple where they're at, and Zuko and her have a big fight, and she almost ends up just like falling off into the abyss, basically. But she uses her firebending to push herself against the wall, like the cliff or whatever. And she has whatever sharp thing that was in her hair, and she can stab into the cliff and stop falling. Next is Aang versus the Earthbending army. This is after the fight at the Northern Water Tribe versus the Firebenders, and the general there wants to use Aang's avatar state in order to finish the war ASAP. Don't even bother learning the other elements, just do this. And no matter what they try, they can't do it. So what ends up happening is they end up fighting, and Katara gets like stuck in like a sand type of deal, where the general makes her go down each and every single time, just sink further and further in. And sorry if you hear like a sound, it's one of the loud vehicles of someone who lives in the neighborhood. But Aang tries to save her at the last second and can't, and he gets so angry that he thinks Katara's gone that it triggers the avatar state, and he destroys everything in the area. And then he learns the truth about the avatar state. Yeah, you're most powerful, but you're also at your most vulnerable, because if you die in the avatar state, the cycle's broken. It's crazy. It was in Aang, like, that's when he truly feared the avatar state, Next is Aang, Sokka, Toph, and Katara versus the Ba Sing Se army. This is when they return to Ba Sing Se to talk to the Earth King. And Long Fang was waiting for them. And he had the Earth Kingdom army waiting. He had the guards, I think they're actually technically called. They had the guards waiting. And there was a huge battle that ensued where they make their way into the palace, and they're finally able to make their way to the king. But they have to go through, Earthbender after Earthbender after Earthbender to try to, get in. Number 7 is the fight for the Northern Water Tribe. So this was when the Fire Nation raided the Northern Water Tribe, and they tried to take over. And Zhao wanted to get one of the fishes from the pond. He got the white one, I believe, which I'm trying to think if that's yin or yang. But it was like the koi fish or whatever. And there's general fighting between the Fire Nation and the Water Tribe. And then when the moon comes up, they stop, because that's when the Water Tribe would have the advantage. Then when the moon goes down and the sun goes up, they, start attacking again. And then, they don't bother stopping again, because they're so close. Now, once Zhao kills one of the koi fish, and goes into the avatar state, reacts with the other koi fish and turns into the giant water monster fish kind of thing. Where the water tribe, like, they bow and show respect to it. And the Fire Nation, they're ready to attack. So Aang knows which ones to take out. And he ends up pushing all the ships back, and he takes out the entire fleet with just that thing. Now, he was taking out ship after ship after ship, when they first raided. But it was a slow process. He was just demolishing them. Alright, number 6 is the fight for Ba Sing Se number 1. And I say number 1 because there's another fight for Ba Sing Se in Book 3 during the Sozin's Comet. So, with this one, Ba Sing Se, Zuko, Azula, they were all in there. Zuko and Uncle Iroh were just disguised as normal refugees, and Azula was disguised as a Kyoshi warrior. So it was Aang and Katara versus Azula and Zuko, and ended up the Dai Li joined and started fighting alongside Azula and Zuko. And this is when Aang, he's ready to accept letting Katara go. He's gonna, have full control over the Avatar state, and it'll allow him to win the fight. He tried to avoid doing it, but he couldn't. So he, meditated, and he started doing it, and then Azula shoots him full of lightning, and it ends up killing him. But because of the water that Katara got from the oasis at the Northern Water Tribe, she was able to save him. Yeah, also the only reason they were able to escape was because of Uncle Iroh. He bought them enough time to get out of there. Number 5 is the summer solstice, the Day of Black Sun. So this was the raid on the Fire Nation when they would be powerless. But obviously they knew about it. Then you have the fights between, individual fights. You have the, everyone, like the armies fighting each other. But then you had Aang, Sokka, and Toph fighting the Dai Li and Azula. And they end up wasting their entire time trying to find out where Suki was. And I don't know if you want to count what happened between Zuko and his dad a fight, per se. Because all it was his dad shooting lightning at Zuko and him redirecting it and then running. If you want to count that as a fight, you can, but I don't really count that. Number 4 is the fight for Ba Sing Se number 2. So this was during Sozin's Comet, as I said earlier, and they came to take it back from the Fire Nation to give it back to the Earth Kingdom. And it's a huge fight between Iroh, Bumi, Pakku, everyone that's in the Order of the White Lotus. So there was a bunch of different firebenders, earthbenders, waterbenders. They're all, even people who aren't benders, like the Swordmaster that trained with Sokka, or that trained Sokka. Even he was fighting. Okay, so number 3 is another battle during Sozin's Comet, and that is Sokka, Suki, and Toph versus the airships. This starts off by them taking control of one of the airships. Then they're able to ram it into the other ones. And eventually, though, they end up having to be separated. The airship that they're on breaks. Toph and Sokka end up going one way, and Suki's trapped on another ship, on another airship. The fights, end up, they destroy more airships, but they end up falling off one of the airships. Sokka tries with his sword to stab it and try to slow him down, and it doesn't end up working. They end up falling. Sokka breaks his leg. And they have the two firebenders that try to stop him. He takes out one with Boomerang. he takes out the other with his sword, which he ends up losing, which I think he ends up actually getting back somehow. I think in the comic book or whatever, he ends up getting that back, but I'm not sure. And then Suki ends up saving them as well with the airship that she was left on, that she, got stuck on. She took control of it and rammed the airship that they were on to save them. Number 2 is Zuko and Katara versus Azula. This was the Agni Kai. It started off as Zuko and Azula, again during Sozin's Comet. Like, the final battles were honestly the best. And as they're fighting, it's pretty well balanced, and I think Azula was pretty shocked at that. But that's because at this point, Zuko was not fueled by anger. He had found the true origins of firebending by that point because of the civilization. So, the ancient civilization of the... So it was the, the Sun Warrior civilization that they found. So because also the last two living dragons had shown them him and Aang the origins of firebending. So he had a new fuel for it, and he was able to use that in order to fight Azula. Azula was still fueled by hate and anger. And he was able to match that with the origins of firebending. And she was shocked by that. Then, she was going to shoot lightning at him. He got ready to redirect it. Katara came right into the shot. And she decides to shoot it at Katara instead. Zuko blocks it, redirects some, and then Katara and Azula end up fighting. She's able to freeze the water below them. She travels around after melting it, and she is able to tie up Azula using chains and goes and helps Zuko. So before we list number 1, we are going to do some honorable mentions as well. So some of the honorable mentions are Toph versus the Earth Rumblers. So Toph and Aang were captured, and they let Toph go, but they were gonna, turn in Aang to the Fire Nation. So Toph fights all the Earth Rumblers from Earth Rumble 6 and takes them all out, including like the ringleader kind of guy. I don't even know if ringleader is the right term for it, but it's basically whoever sets the stuff up. He had the long hair. And then another one is everyone versus Azula. When I say everyone, I mean Sokka, Katara, Toph, Aang, Zuko, and Uncle Iroh when they were fighting Azula. So they were in the abandoned earthbending town. And it was originally just Aang and Azula. Zuko joined in, and then everyone joined in. That was when Azula was chasing them, and everyone was super tired. Another one is Katara versus Hama. Hama was the old woman who escaped from a Fire Nation prison after being taken from the Southern Water Tribe. She's the one who invented bloodbending. And Katara ended up doing it as well during their fight. But it was just to save Aang and Sokka. Another one that I like is Aang versus Jet. This was the one where they blew up the dam to try to get rid of the Fire Nation in the town. And Aang wanted to stop Jet. And they ended up fighting because Aang needed his glider in order to stop them. So a fight pursued, and Katara intervened eventually and just froze Jet next onto a tree. Hey guys, I know I look different. during the process of going through Avatar: The Last Airbender and getting the clips, I decided to add. I decided to add another honorable mention to the list here. And I'm gonna redo this whole thing. Hey guys, I know I look different. It is a different day. As I'm trying to get the clips for these different fights, there was one I saw that I felt should go in the honorable mentions, and I'm gonna have a lot of freaking honorable mentions. I might as well have made a top 20 list, but then even these, you know, they would have been hard to put in order. But this one is the Blue Spirit fight. So you have Zuko dressed up as the Blue Spirit, and he rescues Aang from the Fire Nation. Aang is arrested while Katara and Sokka are sick, and he tries to get the frogs and is ambushed by the archers. So he ends up, you know, arrested by the Fire Nation. They have him, and Zuko's like, no, Zhao can't arrest him. I have to be the one to capture him and deliver him to the Fire Lord. So he decides to dress up in the Blue Spirit outfit and save him. It's a pretty cool fight. I saw it. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to add it. So, just that little bit. And now I'll find some way to put this in, but you're going to see me from the initial recording in the next couple seconds. The last honorable mention, or I guess mentions, because it's more than one fight, but any fight that involves Combustion Man. Whether it's the first one, where he attacks them at night, then there's the one in the town where they fight by the fountain. There's also the one where he fights them at the Western Air Temple. I know those are 3 for a fact, I remember. There might have been 1, maybe 2 more. But just really any fight that involves Combustion Man. And you should probably be able to guess what the number 1 battle is at this point. Number 1 is Aang versus Fire Lord Ozai. I mean, this was the best fight of the entire series. Guaranteed. If you don't have this at number 1, something's wrong. This was an amazing battle. You know, Aang tried, you know, hey, we don't have to fight. If you want to stop what you're doing. No, he's not going to do that. You have to fight. And Aang did pretty well in the beginning. It kind of went downhill after he redirected the lightning and didn't shoot it back at Fire Lord Ozai. Ozai's face was, oh no, because he had seen it before with Zuko. And that means he knew Zuko found Aang and taught him. But Aang didn't shoot at Ozai. He turned and shot it into the sky. And that kind of took some energy out of him. That gave Ozai a slight advantage, which he turned into a big advantage. Aang ended up curling up into the rock ball kind of thing. Ozai hit it with fire a bunch of times. He was able to break it apart. And just because of one little piece of the cliff went right where Aang was shot with lightning, it unlocked the entire Avatar link again, and he was able to go into the Avatar state. That's where he really took over the fight, and he had the chance to take out Fire Lord Ozai. And this is where you knew he had complete control over the Avatar state, and that he was able to stop what he was doing and instead took away Fire Lord Ozai's bending. And that, to me, is the top 15 battles in Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, you guys may have different opinions, where you may say, hey, this fight was better than this one, or, you know, why is that on the list? That was a terrible battle. Or this battle was great. Why was this not on there? And I did a little bit of research, but obviously I can't remember every single fight. So if you guys have any fights that you thought should have been on here or should not have been on here, put those down in the comments below. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button and turn notifications on, and hit the like button if you did enjoy this video, and I will see all you guys in the next video. Later.
Once I was 7 years old, Mama told me, go make yourself some friends or you'll be lonely. Once I was 7 years